up, everybody? This is Tech G back with another video. And in this video, I'm going to be explaining to you exactly what the Telnet protocol is. So let's get into it. Telnet, this is one of the earliest and most fundamental protocols used for remote communication over a network. Now, despite its age, Telnet has had a significant impact on the development of modern network protocols and remote access technologies. And in this video, we're going to talk about the Telnet protocol in depth, covering its history, how it works, its components, security aspects, and its role in the broader context of network communication. All right, so first things first, what is Telnet? So Telnet, this stands for Telecommunication Network, and this is a network protocol used to provide a bidirectional, interactive, text-based communication facility between two machines. It allows users to remotely log into another computer over a TCP/IP network, such as the internet or a local area network. And as far as this historical context is concerned, Telnet, it was developed in 1969 as one of the first protocols for remote login and command execution. It was standardized as part of the Internet Protocol by the Internet Engineering Task Force in 1983, described in RFC 854. And Telnet, it played a crucial role in the early days of the Internet, providing a way for users to manage and interact with remote systems. All right, so let's talk about how Telnet works. So Telnet operates on a client-server model where the client initiates a connection to the server and the server responds to the client's requests. And the protocol uses TCP to ensure reliable communication, and it typically operates on port 23. So here's the basic workflow. First part is connection establishment. So the Telnet client initiates a connection to the Telnet server using the server's IP address or host name and port number. Once again, the default is port 23. Then there is the negotiation. So the client and server negotiate options for the Telnet session, such as a terminal type, window size, and character set. And this is done using a series of special Telnet commands. Then there's the login. So the server prompts the user to enter the login credentials, such as a username and password. And upon successful authentication, the user grants access to the remote system. Then there's the command execution. So the user can now enter commands which are sent to the server for execution. And the server processes these commands and returns the output to the client. And then there's session termination. So the session continues until the user logs out or the connection is terminated. Then the client and the server exchange final messages to gracefully close the connection. Now, Telnet uses a set of control commands to manage the session and negotiate options between the client and server. And these commands are typically sent as sequences of bytes with specific meanings. And some common Telnet commands include the following. So you have IAC, which stands for Interpret as Command. And this is the prefix for all Telnet commands, indicating that the following bytes are a command rather than data. You have the do command. This is a request or confirmation that the other side should enable an option. Then there's don't. This is a request or confirmation that the other side should disable the option. You have the will or won't command, and this indicates a willingness to enable an option or a refusal to enable an option. You have the SB, or the sub-negotiation begin command. This marks the beginning of a sub-negotiation sequence. And then you have the sub-negotiation end, or the SE command, and this marks the end of a sub-negotiation sequence. But on your screen right here, you can see a screenshot of the client that's connected to the server, where they log in with the username and password and execute a command to list files, and then they log out. All right, so let's move on and talk about the components of Telnet. So several key components make up the Telnet protocol and facilitate its operations. You have the Telnet client. So this is the software application or command line tool that is used to initiate a Telnet session. And examples include the Telnet command in Windows, PuTTY, and various Unix and Linux Telnet clients. You have the Telnet server. This is the software application or service that accepts incoming Telnet connections and processes commands from remote clients. And examples include the Telnet daemon in Unix and Linux systems and Telnet servers on network devices. And then you have the network infrastructure, and this is the underlying TCP/IP network that enables communication between the Telnet client and the server. Next, let's talk about the advantages and disadvantages of Telnet. So the advantages are as follows. There's simplicity. So Telnet is straightforward to use and implement, making it accessible for basic remote access needs. There's real-time interaction. So Telnet provides real-time interactive communication, allowing users to execute commands and receive immediate feedback. Then there's versatility. So Telnet can be used to access a wide range of systems and devices, including servers, network equipment, and embedded systems. Its disadvantages are as follows. So it lacks security. So Telnet transmits data, including login credentials and plain text, making it vulnerable to eavesdropping and man-in-the-middle attacks. There is no encryption, so it does not provide encryption for data transmission, compromising the confidentiality and integrity of the communication. And then it's pretty much obsolete. So Telnet has largely been replaced by more secure protocols like SSH, which offer encryption and enhanced security features. Moving on, let's talk about Telnet security concerns. So the primary security concern with Telnet is its lack of encryption, which exposes sensitive information to potential attackers. And the key risks include the following. So there's eavesdropping. So since Telnet transmits data in plain text, attackers can intercept and read the communication, including username and passwords. There's man-in-the-middle attacks. So attackers, they can intercept and modify the communication between the Telnet client and server, potentially injecting malicious commands or capturing sensitive data. And then there's unauthorized access. So without strong authentication mechanisms, Telnet is susceptible to unauthorized access if login credentials are compromised. Now, to mitigate these security risks that are associated with Telnet, you want to consider the following best practices. You want to use SSH instead of Telnet. So SSH, or Secure Shell, this is a more secure alternative to Telnet that provides encrypted communication and robust authentication. You want to limit Telnet access. So you want to restrict Telnet access to trusted networks and users using firewalls and access control lists to limit exposure. You want to enable strong authentication. So use strong, unique passwords for Telnet accounts and implement multi-factor authentication if possible. And you want to monitor and audit Telnet use. So regularly monitor Telnet activity and review logs for suspicious behavior and implement auditing to track and analyze Telnet sessions. All right, next let's talk about Telnet in the modern context. So while Telnet has largely been replaced by more secure protocols, it still has specific use cases and remains relevant in certain contexts. First one is legacy systems. So many older systems and network devices still support Telnet and may require its use for management and maintenance. They have embedded systems. So some embedded systems and IoT devices, they use Telnet for remote access and configuration. You have educational purposes. So Telnet is often used in educational settings to teach the basics of network communication and remote access. Then you have testing and debugging. So Telnet can be a useful tool for testing and debugging network services and applications, providing a simple way to interact with servers and devices. Given the security limitations of Telnet, several alternatives offer enhanced security and functionality. The first is Secure Shell. So SSH, this provides encrypted communication, strong authentication, and additional features like secure file transfer and port forwarding. And it is the preferred protocol for secure remote access and management. Then we have RDP, or Remote Desktop Protocol, and this is a proprietary protocol developed by Microsoft for remote access to Windows desktops and servers, and it provides a graphical user interface for remote control and management. You have VNC, or Virtual Network Computing, and this is a cross-platform remote access protocol that allows users to control another computer's desktop environment, and it is often used for remote support and troubleshooting. And then you have HTTP and HTTPS, so web-based remote management interfaces that use HTTP or HTTPS to provide secure access to system and device configurations through a web browser. Now, despite its security shortcomings, Telnet is still used in various practical scenarios. So first one is network device configuration. So network admins, they use Telnet to configure and manage routers, switches, and other network devices, particularly in environments where SSH is not supported. There's remote system management. So Telnet allows admins to remotely manage servers and systems, performing tasks such as software installation, updates, and troubleshooting. You have service testing. So Telnet can be used to test and debug network services like HTTP, SMTP, and FTP by manually connecting to the service and issuing out commands. And then once again, you have educational demonstrations. So Telnet is often used in educational demonstrations to illustrate basic network communication principles and the functioning of remote access protocols. All right, so let's talk about the future of Telnet. So as technology continues to evolve, The role of Telnet in modern network communication is likely to diminish even further. However, its historical significance and foundational concepts will continue to influence the development of new protocols and technologies. So we have security enhancements. So future remote access protocols will continue to prioritize security, building on the lessons learned from Telnet's vulnerabilities. And encryption, strong authentication, and secure session management will remain key focus areas. You have integration with modern technologies. So remote access solutions will increasingly integrate with modern technologies such as cloud computing, IoT, and artificial intelligence. And this integration will enable more efficient and secure remote management of distributed systems and devices. And then once again, there's educational value. So Telnet will maintain its educational value, providing a simple and accessible way to teach and understand the fundamentals of network communication and remote access. And it serves as a practical tool for demonstrating basic concepts that underpin more advanced protocols and systems. Now, given the inherent security risks that are associated with Telnet, enhancing security measures is crucial when using the protocol. So here are some strategies. First, you want to use VPNs. So if you must use Telnet, use it with a VPN to encrypt the entire communication channel, which reduces the risk of interception. Also, use access control. So restrict Telnet access to specific IP addresses or networks to limit exposure. Conduct regular updates. So keep your Telnet server and client software up to date with the latest security patches and updates, and do some session monitoring. So monitor Telnet sessions actively and log all activities to detect any unauthorized access or suspicious behavior promptly. So despite its declining usage, Telnet's legacy endures through its influence on modern protocols and its role in the history of network communication. And some key aspects of Telnet's legacy includes the following. So once again, it is the foundation for remote access. So Telnet laid the groundwork for remote access protocols, leading to the development of more secure and sophisticated alternatives like SSH. It's an educational tool. And I got to keep stressing that for those of y'all out there. If you're going to use this, use it as an educational tool. So Telnet continues to be a valuable educational tool, helping learners understand basic networking concepts and the mechanics of remote communication. And then there's the historical significance. So as one of the earliest internet protocols, Telnet represents an important milestone in the evolution of the internet and network computing. So to wrap all of this up, the Telnet protocol has played a pivotal role in the development of network communication, providing a simple yet effective means of remote access and management. While its lack of security has led to a decline in its usage, Telnet's influence is undeniable, and it remains a valuable tool for certain applications and educational purposes. Now, understanding Telnet involves grasping its basic workflow, commands, components, and security challenges it presents. By appreciating Telnet's contributions and limitations, users and admins can make informed decisions about its use and implement best practices to mitigate risks. Now, as the landscape of network communication continues to evolve, the principles and lessons learned from Telnet will continue to inform the development of new protocols and technologies. So whether you're exploring network fundamentals, managing legacy systems, or simply curious about the history of the internet, Telnet offers a fascinating glimpse into the early days of remote access and the ongoing journey towards more secure and efficient network communication.